to get seniors out of their homes and apartments and active. The worst thing you can do is sit around for long periods of time and watch TV and that sort of thing. The best things you can do is to get active, get moving. You don't have to run a marathon, you don't have to lift 1,000 pounds, you just have to walk. And you could walk as far as you want to, as often as you want to, in whatever weather. The bad thing about sitting around too much is the muscles, these huge muscles in the back of your leg and your butt begin to atrophy. When they do, you begin to lose flow of the blood. And by walking, the body will start repairing those blood vessels. And it does it all over the body. So you can repair a lot of stuff by just walking. So Aaron, how do you think we're going to get some of those people that are isolated in their homes, for example? Maybe they've retired. Maybe they can afford to do the kinds of things that we're doing with this program.
Yeah.
How are we going to get them out of there? How are we going to motivate them to get out of their homes?
Yeah. Actually, we were just talking about some of the seniors at the senior center and who are not here. And Doris was telling us that she's talked to them about, why don't you come out and walk? Why don't you come out and walk? You can walk at your own pace, and you'll feel good when you're done with it. And they're like, well, my feet will hurt. I can't walk on concrete. And I think there's a lot of benefit to having good shoes, that have enough cushion,
good insoles,
and good support.
Yes.
And one of the things we were talking about too about walking is the benefits are so great. It isn't just the cardio benefit or the muscular, but it's also your skeleton. Every time you step, it's not just the weight that your body feels, it's actually exponentially a greater weight, and that helps build bones.
And these individual researchers have come up with reports that say our body builds new vessels, new blood vessels, everywhere in the body.
Yeah.
In the eyes and the whatever, wherever
it does?
Wherever. Yes, yes. But then there
Yes.
are a few other things. We need to get your brain right. We need to get your attitude right. Get this, if you can get your attitude right, it will start healing even better than what you're eating, than your exercise, and a lot of other things. Simply changing the attitude, and we show you how to do that through meditation and other things. And some other things that are really important about our walking groups is we bring people together to relate to each other, to walk and tell stories about your kids and your past life and all of that kind of stuff. It's called socialization, and it's very, very important, and it can help heal what's wrong with your body.
I think we're really fortunate here in Vallejo. We have a wonderful, flat, lengthy path that everybody can come down and enjoy here at the waterfront. I mean, there are other different routes around the city where you could walk, but this is unencumbered by traffic. It's scenic. There's lots of people that are doing it, so I think it's safe in that way. Again, it's flat. I mean, you could come down here with a buddy, come down here on a Friday at 9 a.m., just get started, and you don't have to go the whole route. Park your car, go as far as you can, and come back.
Great. We're here every Friday, 9 o'clock, with Aaron Hannigan, the supervisor of Solano County, and we walk from here down there to that first bridge and then back again. So come and join us on Friday. And people need to understand that they can build new blood vessels where blood vessels have collapsed and gone away. And they'll build new blood vessels. One report said they'll build new blood vessels where blood vessels have never existed.
Interesting.
So the list of advantages to walking is so long I get embarrassed trying to tell people
Well,
it will help
I think
this
the best thing
and
about it
this.
is one of those exercises that doesn't cost a lot of money. Again, it comes back to if you have good shoes.
Right.
And you're wearing comfortable clothes, whatever they are. They don't have to match or be the latest
Yes.
or whatever, right? I mean, they could be as bright as yours or, you know, my tights, but easy.
Yeah,
you're
you're
absolutely
absolutely
get
right.
out and do it.
It's
And
put
it can
layers
be
on
gradual.
and
You know, it can be. Maybe you just walk for 5 minutes.
exactly.
Maybe you just walk from your house to the end of the block and back, and then the next day you do it twice.
I started that way, walking around the senior apartment that I lived in.
Yeah.
I walked around it once.
Yeah.
Then I went home and took a 2-hour nap.
Yeah.
The next day, I did the same thing, but I only needed an hour. It woke me
recover.
up. Yeah. And then the next day, I added like a block.
Well, and I think people don't understand that how much energy you get actually from expending energy, particularly cardio.
Because I was diabetic, he wanted to see me every 3 months. So I was in the, you know, they had taken the blood sugar, tests and all that stuff. And he walks into the room and he said, Mr. Keiser, because that's my last name, Mr. Keiser, you're going to have to do something. So I said, what? I have to do something? I thought you were going to do something. He said, I already have. And the boatload of medicines that you're taking are not helping. Your numbers are still bad. So you're going to have to take a hold of your health. So I subscribed to a lot of different clinics and teaching hospitals and that sort of thing to try to figure out what was causing us this problem. Does anybody here have diabetes? No. Okay. And we get to thinking that diabetes is a disease. It's a symptom. The symptom is trying to tell us that something is going on with our body, and the body's trying to tell us that. So I started reading everything I could get my hands on, and the first thing that happened is I found this golden nugget that said activity is good for this condition that is diabetes. And so I thought, oh, that's easy. So I got up and I walked around the complex that I was in, and then I went home and took a 2-hour nap, right? Because I was pooped. And then the next day I took a 1-hour nap, because that's really all I needed at that point. And the next day I added about a block, and then I added maybe 2 blocks and kept adding stuff. And one of the things I found that was so important was what they call journalizing. See, don't get me wrong, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a certified anything, I'm just an old guy that has gotten his health back. Now, the name of my book, just so you know, is The Silly Things That Make Us Sick, Fat, and Old. Everybody has a big chuckle with that, and they all go, oh, he's so cute. What about this guy? No. So, and it's true. We're not being told what's really causing our problems. Because as I went through all this literature, I found, let me just read some of this to you. Lack of self-confidence, worry, and of course, a lack of exercise and a poor nutrition, but there's things like stress. So if you ask your doctor, what would it take to fix me? He'd probably say, more exercise, better nutrition. That's only 2 of about 12 that I have identified. So then, as I got into it, I started doing it. Like, I started meditating, getting rid of some of that stress. You'll never get rid of all of it, not in this life. When, 40,000 years ago, when we were running on the Serengeti, a tiger might run after us and chase us up a tree. Within 15 minutes, he's gotten tired of the chase and goes away, or he's eaten us, right? So our stress level goes down. Today, that's not true. I mean, we're going, well, how am I going to pay my rent? And what are my kids doing? And no, she said this about me. And I'm driving and somebody cut me off. And all of those things are stress inducing, and that increases your cortisol. Cortisol, as they say, is the stress hormone. And as I went through this, I found the things that are making us sick, fat, and old. And then I had to figure out, so what's it going to do to fix us? What do we need to fix us? The other thing I think is so important is that they have found out that inactivity is virtually as bad for us as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So inactivity is, now they're calling it the new smoking.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that inactivity is a spiral. It just gets worse. You sit there longer, you sit there, the worse you get, and the sicker you get, and the worse.
Well, and that's why it's good to create those habits early of exercise.
Why do you come walking with us all the time?
Well, I came walking because I was starting to feel slow and sluggish and achy at home and was going downhill, and I thought that you need to get out and get some physical activity.
Right.
I've been doing it now for just 2 weeks, and already I feel more energy and less pain in my joints. So I'm very pleased, and better mental outlook too. I think it's been a pretty rapid benefit.
I'll lay there in the bed at 5:30 or 6 and go, oh, I really don't feel like. Then I think, oh, there's going to be people there waiting for me. But the fact that he told me that exercise is so good for us, or I should say activity, is so good for us that I would be in much worse shape if I didn't exercise. It's really activity. And so starting on your journal is important because it gives your brain feedback, positive mental feedback, which improves your self-concept and a whole lot of other things. And of course, we want to get this process going with a lot of other people who are in their homes and not moving, watching TV too much. The one thing the doctor said yesterday was, do you know that if you're active, you have a 60% less chance of coming down with Alzheimer's?
Really?
I go, wow. Because my mother died of Alzheimer's. She was in a home for 10 years. And, she didn't know people anymore. And it's really a sad, sad situation. And I don't want to end up that way.
Right.
Dopamine. Everybody's heard of dopamine, right? That's the feel-good hormone. Endorphins, serotonins, melatonins, insulin, and of course cortisol. So I found out that if you think a good thought about sitting on the beach, enjoying the sun, your cortisol will go down and your dopamine will go up. Now, why that's important is you need dopamine to make new and repair cells. And that's true of wherever they are. So how do you do that? Well, one thing you can do is meditate. And we have a disc for you if you want us to come in and do the program here, that will help you through that process. Thinking about your grandkids, anything that puts a smile on your face will increase your dopamine.
Saturday I saw a big sign for their walk, and then when I was coming down the hill, I walked for a short distance with a lady from San Jose that had come over with the boat for the Volk walk.
Oh, uh-huh.
They go everywhere. She was she was telling me all the trips she had planned this year to do.
If you guys are interested in bringing this process into your area, there's a lot of information here that you could take and read and find out about what's going on. There is nothing hidden. We're not going to sell you more stuff. We are going to sell you a kit, because you got to have the book, the workbook, the pedometer, the measuring tape, and that disc I told you about. It's a CD. It's called meditation CD. And other than that, there's going to be maybe a few bucks or so for the lessons, for the, it's like Weight Watchers. Don't tell me that it's what they're eating. I don't even want to hear that. It's not what they're eating. Part of it's what they're eating. It's the meetings, it's the weighing in, it's the calling each other. It's a whole process going on. And this is the same.
Yeah, my goal is that we have what's called a blue community. We're healthy. We exercise, we have access, and we eat healthy food. We pay attention to our health, and if we've got issues, we're going to the doctor. Even before we have issues, we're going to the doctor and making sure that we're on the right path.
Right.
I think it's really important to make an example for our children. You're going to live longer, you're going to feel better, you're going to have less hospital visits and stays because of illness or injury. And as you grow older, you're going to be in a much better spot. You're not going to have those issues with falls that some people who are inactive have.
Yes,
and,
yes.
As a senior, if you fall, and break or something, it is the chances of you recovering get smaller every time you fall and break something.
Yeah. Jeannie, the other day, I said, so how are your numbers coming? And she said, they're coming down. That's what's so amazing. She's only been doing it for like 3 weeks. Her blood pressure's down, her heart rate's down. She's lost 2 inches around her belly, all that kind of stuff. Falling is the most expensive problem that we have, even more so than stroke and heart attack.
Gunshots. Falling. We tend to talk about shootings and all that kind of stuff, that, how horrible and tragic it is, and it is.
Right.
But falling for seniors is even more tragic, I think, because it happens at a greater rate and to more and more people. And like I said, the recovery, gets your ability to recover is diminished every single time it happens.
Longer, more time in wheelchairs.
And it's expensive for hospitals and medical care.
Yeah.
So get out and exercise.
Okay, but all right. It's not important how fast you walk. What's important is how often and where or when. So I try to, you've probably heard people talk about 10,000 steps a day. If you don't do 10,000, you're nothing, That's not true. You do 500 to get started. And then maybe, 750 or something of that nature. And you go as far as you want to go, where you want to go. If you want to come and walk with us down at the waterfront, we'll somehow get Kendra's people to get you down there. We get Soul Train to get you down there. Give us a little time, in advance, and we'll take you places. And the walking groups also go and walk with other walkers. So The people who go down to Blue Rock will go to Dan Foley once in a while. And so it's a fun thing. The nice thing about walking in a group is, you know, the companionship and the socialization. And that is so important to your health. Those are the roots, some of the roots I'm talking about. A lot of times we say, well, walking is so good for you. But we never really explain why it's so good for you. It's like sitting. When you're sitting, these muscles, these big muscles back here, start to atrophy. And when you're walking, these big muscles are really pumping out the blood. And they do so well that the system then starts making new blood vessels and repairing old blood vessels. And there's some question, though, whether or not you can sit 8 hours a day and then go running 5 miles and overcome that. There's some question about whether or not that works. So the idea is to stand, you know, every half hour, get up and stand, walk around a little bit. And of course, for those that are working, we suggest that they walk down the row of cubicles to, you know, see somebody instead of sending an email. Taking the steps. I used to start at the top and walk my way down because I couldn't walk up the steps. And I did that enough to the point where, hey, I could go up 1 flight of steps and then, you know, maybe 2 or something of that nature. You imagine, just conceive of this. You know those pound of butter? Yeah. Can you imagine 40 of those? You know, on all over you. It's just hanging all over you. 40 of them. And some of the people, you know, have lost 100 pounds and more. I really feel sorry for them. Because the problem is, it extends their muscles so much that even though they lose fat, they have to have an operation in order to get rid of all that excess skin. Here's another interesting thing. You know that unlike, you know, our cells are repairing themselves and replacing themselves, even in the brain, and I'll explain how that happens. They were really confused about that. They used to think, and I still see this on TV, that the brain cells that you have when you're 3, that's all you ever get. That's not true. So anyhow, the cells in our body are dying and being replaced and that sort of thing. But the fat cells, that's not true. We have the fat cells that we were born with. We just blow them up. And you know, and let them get smaller, but we never get rid of them. You know, the nice thing about this is you just stroll. It's not like you have to power walk. I have this friend who thinks that if you're not power walking, you're not doing anything. And I keep saying, look, I've never power walked. Yeah, let's go around. Let's go around here.
Okay.
I've never broken a sweat.
Yeah.
And you don't have to get the benefits, as you see, of activity. In addition to walking, activity is medicine, and that's a true statement. Activity actually is medicine, and there are a lot of other activities here at the center that you can take advantage of.
Living it up in the city. Walk it out. Gotta kiss myself. So pretty.
Activities that get people involved in other people, talking with them, laughing with them, passing on information, that sort of thing. And as you know, the contact with society is a very important part of your health returning. in addition to activities. And of course, we're not just talking about walking, we are talking about other activities, things that build your brain. We have brain stretching type of activities, as well as a lot of other types of activities. I was listening to a YouTube video the other day, and it was made by the guy who is the CEO of Keiser Permanente, and he went on for like 20 minutes about how good walking is for you, how it reduces your chance of strokes, your chance of heart attack, and your chance of high blood pressure. And he thinks that walking is one of the best things that you can do. As he said, we're not the biggest animals on the planet, we're not the fastest animals on the planet, but we are the best at walking of all animals. We'll get you moving and improve your health. That's really the reason for walking, is to improve your health, improve your outlook, improve your ability to fight off disease, and your ability to fight off depression. We need to realize that activity really is medicine, and with activity, you can improve your health, reduce the amount of medicines you might be taking. Aaron, I want to thank you for coming down here every Friday, lending your support to walking, just walking and the health benefits of it. And it's worth all of this to come down here and put the stuff together and get a few people going, and we end up with this kind of thing going on.
It's wonderful.
People making friendships and getting healthier, and we're going to be passing the word on. We certainly appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate, Gordon, your enthusiasm for it.
Oh.
Activity is medicine is so true, and the work that you've done just within yourselves and the senior community and getting your message out, I think is just phenomenal. So whatever I can do to help support healthy community and the work that you're doing, you got it.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Yep.
All righty.
We'll be back.
Bye-bye.
Every Friday, 9 a.m.
You heard it here.